A beautiful morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria. On today's Crossfire, we're going to be asking a very important question. Who has the upper hand, Boko Haram or the federal government? Boko Haram is to Nigeria what ISIS is to, I'm so sorry, to the Middle East. I can't do this on my own on today's show. I have my partner with me in the studio, Dapo Banjo. He's going to be discussing this topic and much more on Crossfire this morning. Dapo, good morning.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Gbemi.
Good morning, Dapo. You know, it seems like the federal government, they're lacking control. It's easy for the federal government to go to Syria, Liberia, and assist them in those countries. But, you know, we've been going on and on with Boko Haram. It's been for like 5 years now. Yes. And it seems like the insurgents have gained more control over the northeast and central, you know, Borno and Adamawa. What is going on? Why can we not do anything? All right.
This situation is very simple. You and I know that since 2009, from the beginning of the insurgents,
right,
we have had it really very rough. When I say rough, right, I simply mean the federal government of Nigeria has not been able to come up with an holistic plan to tackle the insurgency.
They haven't been able to nib it in the bud.
There is nothing. You can't see anything. There's no security.
Absolutely.
There's no master plan as to how we're going to get it done.
Right.
I am familiar with some activities of Nigeria, like you earlier mentioned,
yes,
that when we went to Sierra Leone, yes, when we were in Liberia, right, there was a master plan.
There was a master, yes.
There was a plan to help those nations, you know, back on track. But here we have a situation in Nigeria that is still, like I say on this program regularly, where we have really affected so far is been the northeast, the north central, and the central states of Nigeria. It has really particularly not spread all over Nigeria, as it were, yep, even though they have presence almost everywhere.
But let me ask you this,
yeah,
I don't mean to cut you short,
yeah,
but I wanted to ask you, is it until it spreads to all over the country before our government is going to take action? Because as it is, you know, it's because, okay, because it's in the northeast and the north central, so you know, maybe they're still thinking, okay, it hasn't reached everywhere that it's going to affect the whole country. Are we going to wait till then to take action?
Obviously, we are waiting because nothing is on ground. You will agree with me at this point, right, that the federal government of Nigeria is not particularly paying attention to the most recent activities, right, of the insurgency,
right,
of Boko Haram. They have captured a lot of other places, and don't forget, information management in Nigeria is very poor. Now, what we have, right, and what we have been reading in the newspapers and in these various media, right, is that one, we don't even have accurate information, you know, covering the activities of Boko Haram.
Right.
Do you understand?
I understand.
So, because of that, they probably may have even covered more areas than we've been told. That has been reported.
Absolutely.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
So, and we cannot, we shouldn't wait, but you and I don't have so much to do. We can only talk about it. The government is responsible to take care of lives and properties of the populace.
Absolutely.
But we don't have that situation on the ground.
Yes.
Listen, we have heard about the activities of this insurgency all in so many other states.
Right.
Do you understand? But because it's not predominantly happening, right, because it is subtle, right, because the impact is not enormous yet, it is believed that they are not there.
Okay, you know what? Let me ask you this. You have a good point there, but let me ask you this. The military, could it be because they're not, the morale is low with our military? You know, could it be that they don't have the weapons to fight? Because it's all well and good for you to stand there and say, wait, you know, it's like if I'm fighting Boko Haram, if I don't have the right equipment to fight back, you know, it's like I will run.
Baby.
These guys, do you understand? I'm told some of them have run off to Chad.
Yeah, what should build the morale of the military is situations that require military intervention. No, they should not wait. Let me tell you something. Do you know, within the space of 1 month, we've lost 2 aircraft?
Helicopters, yes.
I am thinking, and this is my thought.
Just helicopters and the lives that were on board.
Now, this is my thought. Those helicopters have been on ground for so long, we had no reason to use them. Yes. Now, the engineers just woke up one morning and tried to say, okay, we need to start using these machineries.
It hasn't been serviced.
So let's work on them. They've not been serviced.
Not yet.
So Somebody will come and work on it and say, okay, let's try it. And in the process of trying or testing it, they crashed. And that's why we have that. It's an indication that the military never prepared for what we have.
Never, absolutely.
The government have not funded, probably, no, I don't want to say the government has not funded them. They've been funded over the years, but the money has been siphoned.
Because I read that in the newspaper this morning, 32 billion was given to Jonathan for military.
Oh, what of during Obasanjo's regime?
Well,
there has always been a provision.
There's always been a provision, security,
on yearly basis. You know, in the budget.
For defense.
For defense.
Yes.
So what do they use it for? To take care of themselves, feed fat, travel abroad, go for seminars and go for, you know, trainings and never use them.
You know, I think what it is our military, we're so used to going elsewhere. You know, it's like a prophet has no honor in his home. That's what they say. Oh, we're much better at helping other people so we can get accolades from United Nations, America and everything. But in-house, we cannot help our own. And that is a sad case.
That's the
because there's so much fear right now, the propaganda, the manipulation, you know, there's so much right now that something needs to be done, and it's the federal government that has to take a hold of this and drive it.
That's very correct.
Because Boko Haram is winning hands
That's very correct. Let me quickly add to what you said. From the beginning of the insurgency in 2009, we have had situations in which the insurgents, the Boko Haram, have moved into cities and towns, and they've taken charge, absolute charge. The most phenomena has been the taking captive of the Chibok girls.
That's what brought them global recognition.
Is still, much talked about everywhere in the world. Do you understand? I mean, you can imagine how much of the mediocre that they have made out of the Chibok situation when some group of Nigerians came together and went to do hashtag return Jonathan or bring back Jonathan.
Yes, that is insensitive.
Very insensitive. That is very, very, I mean,
they made a mockery of such an important
thing. You know, and that is terrible. To come from a nation like Nigeria, it is terrible, it is unheard, it is unprecedented, it is something that should not, and that's why you will have nations of the world not wanting to come and help us.
They don't take us seriously, they think we're jokers, you know. And
we're not ready for it.
You know, meanwhile, the trail of massacre is continuing relentlessly.
Exactly,
you know, this weekend is over this weekend as well. You know, as of Friday, it's, you know, bombings are going off. You know, people, they've gone back to Boko Haram, have gone back to Chibok again. I mean, the effrontery, the audacity. You take over 200 and something girls from that same town, and you have the nerve to go back there?
Yeah, you know what I discovered? I was reading on the internet that when they got back to Chibok, there were no presence of the police, no military presence, nothing. So it was... You know what?
This is really interesting topic we have today because we both have so much opinion. Just like you Nigerians at home, you all have opinions. We all want something done. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after the break. Our topic today is who has the upper hand, Boko Haram or the federal government of Nigeria. We've talked about the equipments that we have. We've talked about the security issues. We've talked about what is our federal government doing to handle this situation, be in charge. Let's talk about Boko Haram financing. We know where ISIS gets their financing from. It's from Qatar and Turkey. It's all oil money. I want to know is how does Boko Haram get their funding? Because it seems to me like they have a lot of money.
Now, I have a ready-made answer for you.
I know the answer you have.
I have a ready-made answer for you.
Yes, let's discuss it.
It goes, rephrasing your question, I'm going to put it this way. How come Boko Haram have, over time, in the last 5 years, had a upper hand? It is because they are well-financed. It is because they're well-financed. Now, like we said on the last episode of the program, that we don't even know the people who are responsible for financing Boko Haram, but we know that they have support. Now, this support, at the initial stage, 2 years into the insurgency, we were thinking that our neighboring countries probably were responsible, like Cameroon, like Niger, like the Benin Republic, like Chad, and all of them. But we discovered over time.
No, they're just scared.
Because we have loose borders. Our borders are loose. Things can come in and go out at will.
At will.
So we really do not even know how these arms and ammunition get into the hands of the Boko Haram.
But I'm hearing things that they're getting some of their funding from bank robberies, some of the ransom from their kidnapped victims.
That's correct.
I don't know how true. I cannot.
That is very correct.
But I
Reports have it. I know there was a friend of mine who was working in a Zenith bank in Kano.
Right.
There was, a bank robbery where they went into a bank.
Right.
And they robbed and they cut away with, undisclosed amount of money.
Right.
And anyway, insurance will cover it. So there won't be so much noise, over it from the bank. So most of the time, you will realize that all the time these people have the fun to be able to thrive, to be able to continue to perpetrate their evil and unleash.
And also we're told that equipment's gotten from running soldiers.
Yes.
The equipment, because if you're running, oh boy, you leave your
do you know that the Boko Haram probably could have a lot? Don't forget that they actually went into an army barrack. Don't forget that they actually went into one of the army settlements.
Yes.
And they cut away with a lot of weapons.
Where do they get the infantry to do this?
Because they are more armed.
They
have more sophisticated hands.
Yes.
They seems to have mastered their act over the period of time. Don't forget that they have been consistently fighting.
Thank you.
But the military is just trying to counter.
Yes.
So over the time, they have sharpened their skills. Their skills.
Absolutely.
And so it has become so terribly impossible for the military to match them.
To match them. And they've been doing it for 5 years. Now our government, we want to start now. What somebody that has been doing it for 5 years.
Exactly.
And then we're having 2 plane crashes and stuff. There's so much to talk about. So much more to talk about on the show. And we're going to continue talking after we take this short break. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back. This is still Crossfire. This is one of our favorite segments on the show.
We like it.
The Fireback segment, where people, always try to be part of the show. And so this morning, we will still be taking, your thoughts on the program. I know that a lot of people have been trying to reach us on our Twitter handler, and that is @CoolTV Crossfire. And so I know also that our hashtag is really very, active. People have been trying to hashtag us at #Crossfire.
And the email?
So, and I'll just quickly go down and read some of the feedbacks that we have. Somebody tweeted us, Chidima. Chidima, I don't know if this is the Chidima that sings, and I don't know that if this is a Chidima that is a man or a woman. But this person is saying, he said, I am totally in support of your discussion this morning. I am totally in support of your discussion this morning. And let me tell you, Boko Haram have the upper hand.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
I think most of the country will agree with that premise that Boko Haram, they have the upper hand right now, but we want to say, what do we do?
Now, let me quickly take this one, and this one is quite lengthy, and I'm going to quickly go through it. Uche is writing us from Oshodi. He said that, no doubt, Boko Haram have the upper hand.
Right.
He said, God forbid, I pray, that Boko Haram spread their activities to other parts of the country.
Right.
If they come to a place like Lagos, their target will be 3rd Mainland Bridge during a heavy traffic.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine that?
In the evening
that
or in the morning.
That is scary.
That is scary.
That is scary. That is something I don't ever want to think about.
But is that what he's going to take for our federal government to take action? Does it have to get to that point?
Like he said,
yes,
God forbid, like Uche said, God forbid.
Uche said,
I join you and Nigerians. I want you to just keep praying that this activity is still, you know, by the time the federal government do something finally about it, it will still be in the northeastern part of the country.
It's a shame that it's in the country, period. It's not like we want it to continue.
It is a shame. It is a shame.
But, you know, like we're saying.
Yeah. Now, this guy is saying, his name is Abiodun. He said Abiodun from Mushi. Abiodun is saying that I will do everything. I will do everything to make sure that Boko Haram and their activities are totally eradicated. Right. But the Nigerian government have not told us of what to do.
Or what they're doing.
Yes, of what to do. He said if they need people in the army, let them tell us.
Recruit. Yes, you know, your country needs you.
Exactly.
If they need people,
that happens all over the nations of the world.
Yes,
they recruit people to, you know, to go ahead and just do the reinforcement, get more hands into the military. So that
it's a patriotic thing that we have to do. Yeah. But, you know, I was reading the newspaper. You know, are you done with your? Now let me take
this last one.
Yes.
Let me take this last one. Now, Gbemi is saying, I mean, this one, I'm sure this one. I'm sure it's a coincidence. Gbemi is saying, Gbemi, you are looking so beautiful. He said, Dapo, you are looking so very, you know, handsome too.
Thank you, Gbemi.
But let me say this. This topic should be thoroughly discussed over time. Absolutely. Because Nigerians need to know that federal government has lost it completely.
They've lost control.
And this is they've lost control.
Thank you so much, Gbemi. Thank you for the compliment. We're listening to you, and this is a topic that we will be talking about as time goes by because it's very important, and we want our viewers to know what is going on. Absolutely, we will discuss. And
I quickly want to say, even though we have a couple of them that we probably have not read because they came well after the last show, but I quickly want to encourage Nigerians, if you're loving this show, quickly pick up your phone, pick up your iPad, your iPod, whatever you have to connect to the internet and send us your thoughts.
Absolutely.
We will take it all on this show.
Absolutely. We want to, the address is written across the screen right there, so please use it. We want to hear from you. We want to dialogue with you. That's what we do on this show. It's all about you and your thoughts and everything else. I want to ask you this. I saw in the newspaper that it was Gowon that says, let's cut off the fuel and water supply for Boko Haram. Let's make life difficult for them. Is it not until we know where they are that we can do that? Because I don't think the federal government actually know where they are.
Exactly. Now, it can say that. Gowon can say that.
Right.
Because he's thinking back to
1970s.
Yes, to the Civil War. And the Civil War, we know where they are. We know that they're in the east. We know everybody. We know where everybody is.
Yes, but Boko Haram is slippery.
Where is Boko Haram? We heard that they just took 2 new villages in Adamawa.
This is just...
so what is he talking about? This is not a solution.
Boko Haram have these guerrilla warfare tactics. And
correct, I agree with you.
Nigerians are not used to that. We're used to going to somewhere like Liberia, Sierra Leone, you know, I mean, it's finished. But where are they going to start from? It's now, and usually it's the military that is, the army is supposed to be behind the enemy, chasing your enemy. It's the other way around. Boko Haram.
Do you know over the time, Bauchi has felt the impact, Benue has felt the impact, Borno has felt the impact, Sokoto State has felt the impact, even though it was like once or twice. Adamawa has felt the impact. Yobe, you know, Yobe has felt the impact. Even in Niger State, there was something small, but they were not too sure if it was Boko Haram. Do you understand? Abuja has felt the impact.
Let me just read some statistics. Nigerian refugees in Cameroon has tripled in the past 2 months. 13,000 refugees have fled from Adamawa. In July 2014, Nigeria was estimated to have had the largest number of terrorist killings in the world. Over the past year, 3,477 killed in 146 attacks. What does that tell you, my brother?
See, from 2009 to now, you know, minding the fact that Nigeria does not have a good and an accurate database where we can actually pick information from.
Actually, I got this from the Telegraph.
Yeah, all these are estimates.
Estimates.
We have it all over the places that the Boko Haram probably have killed close to 10,000, you know, Nigerians or more. But you will read everywhere that as if it's just like 5,000 people, you know, I mean, like your record is saying 3,400 and something.
Absolutely.
But the truth is, we never have been able to capture accurate data for the number of lives.
No,
you know, we're talking about children, male and female. We're talking about women. We're talking about men. You know, and so what are we talking about here?
Absolutely.
We're talking about people who died in bushes. Peradventure, they were hit by a gun and they were trying to escape and probably fell somewhere and died.
Right.
And nobody will be able to give, you know, or include that number in the data. Do you understand?
Right. Okay. You know. Okay. I was reading the newspaper. I mean, there's a father lost his 3 children, and they took his wife.
Imagine.
Just
imagine that.
They said that the military that was in that at the chief of defense staff, he has apparently he had helicopter come in, take his family out, and left the villagers, because in his village he was able, because he has the power. This is the chief of defense staff. He has the power to have helicopters.
So
came in, took his family out and left them. And even the soldiers that were there, guarding his compound, they took off.
I mean, it's unfortunate that the Boko Haram have the upper hand than the federal government of Nigeria. And if care is not taken and we allow this spread to go, the rate at which it's growing, then the entire country is going to be in a mess. The entire country is going to be in a mess. And so what we need to do is that the federal government should come out and give us a plan. They should come out with a program. They should let Nigerians know what to do. We need to be security conscious, but what do we do? If you want Nigerians to carry guns in defense of ourselves, if you want us to learn
look at the farmers.
How to detone.
Look at the farmers that they took matters into their own hands. The military wasn't doing anything. These farmers, they went with their cutlasses and all the gadgets that they do.
Yeah, they use even local machetes.
And they got the job done. It's a no-brainer.
It's very sad. The fact that you and I are not feeling the impact because we live in Lagos and in the suburb is not an indication that this is not a menace.
See, how we get excited on this show, it's like we have so much to talk about. Dapo has an opinion, and I must certainly have an opinion as well. And I'm certain that you have an opinion. We can't take any more time because my producer is saying that I have to go off. You see, Dapo, we talk too much. So we're going to see you again tomorrow. We don't know what the topic is going to be, but you tweet us, you email us, you hashtag us, and you tell us what you want to hear on your favorite show, Crossfire. If you're enjoying Crossfire, switch over to channel 195 and watch Azide Hot with Nkuvi and Chukudi. Those boys are hot. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
This is Crossfire.
This is Crossfire.